Let me quickly tell you how you can differentiate between a deliquescent substance, an hygroscopic substance, and a fluorescent substance. And yeah, so what exactly do we or are we talking about when we are talking about all of these substances? You could be asked which of the following salts will be or will absorb water and dissolve in it when it is exposed to the atmosphere. So in the option you can have deliquescent, hygroscopic, efflorescent, effervescent. A question can come in this manner: which of the following is an efflorescent substance, which of this is a deliquescent substance? Or they can even ask you, when a substance is exposed to the atmosphere and then it absorbs water, what kind of substance is that? So please stay tuned to the end of this video. I'm going to show you simple tricks that you can use to differentiate between all of these characteristics, and I will give you examples as well. Okay, so let's get started. Now, when a substance is placed in maybe exposed to the atmosphere, and that substance absorb water, all right, absorb water from the atmosphere, and that substance dissolves in that water, or it forms a solution. What do you call that kind of substance? There are some salts that when you expose them to the atmosphere, you allow them to stay, they will just melt. They would absorb water and they melt. So what do you call those kind of substances? They are called deliquescent substances. So the ability of a substance to absorb water from the atmosphere and dissolve in it, forming solution, is called deliquescence. Let me give you this illustration that you will use to easily remember. Maybe on a Saturday morning you want to do your laundry, you want to wash your school uniform, and then you pack your uniform, the clothing you want to wash, you pack them outside to where you want to do the laundry, and then you came in with a cup of detergent, the powdered detergents that you have, and then you come out with it, you drop it down with the clothing, and then you remember that there's a particular shirt you need to wash, so you quickly ran into your room to pick up that shirt, and by the time you got back outside to continue your washing, you discovered that the powdered detergent that you have in your cup, all right, you discovered that it had melted. Everything melted. Would you be happy? Would you be impressed with that kind of detergent? You wouldn't be. The first thing that comes to your mind is, oh, what kind of nonsense is this? This must be a fake detergent. You just say this is ode. Now in Yoruba, when you say something is ode, that means that thing is maybe foolish or bad. So when you say this is ode, oh my God, this product is ode, it is deliquescent. So that's ode, the de, deliquescent. All right, so it's a deliquescent substance because it's ode. All right, and that's because it has absorbed water and it has dissolved in it. So those kind of substances can also be used as drying agents, but they are not the best form of drying agents, okay? And the reason why they can be used as dry agents is because they have some level of affinity for water, so they can get water from a substance. These substances are also called desiccants, so they can ask you which of the following can be used as a desiccant, okay? Deliquescent substances can also be called desiccants. So what are examples of such deliquescent substances? Your caustic soda, which is sodium hydroxide, NaOH. Sodium hydroxide is one example of substance that is deliquescent. If your sodium hydroxide is crystalline, it's like sugar powder, but when you expose it, it will absorb water and it begins to melt. All right, and then you see that it melts because it is a deliquescent substance. I hope that is clear to everybody. So sodium hydroxide is an example of a deliquescent substance. Another example is your calcium chloride. Calcium chloride is another example of a deliquescent substance. And then you have your zinc chloride. All right, your calcium chloride, your zinc chloride, your sodium hydroxide, the examples of deliquescent substances. Now let's talk about hygroscopic substance. What are hygroscopic substances? These are substances that when you expose them to the atmosphere, they absorb water from the atmosphere, but they do not form solution in it. They don't dissolve in that substance. That is hygroscopic. So hygroscopy is the ability of a substance to absorb water from the atmosphere when it is exposed to the atmosphere, but it does not form solution in it. These hygroscopic substances are the best form of drying agents. So you could be asked, which of the following are the best form of drying agent? So hygroscopic substances are the best form of drying agent. Example of hygroscopic substance is your sodium chloride, which is your table salt that you use in your kitchen. You will notice that sometimes if you forget to cover the salt in your kitchen, your sodium chloride salt, when you come back after some time, if you touch the salt, you see it's a bit moist, all right, as if some water has been poured into it, but it does not dissolve. You still see the salt crystals, okay, but then you see that it's moist. So that is an example of an hygroscopic substance. It has absorbed water, but it did not dissolve in it. Another example of an hygroscopic substance is your sulfuric acid, which is your tetraoxosulfate 6 acid, H2SO4. H2SO4 is used as a drying agent. It's a very popular drying agent. So it is an hygroscopic substance. Another example is your silica gel. So if you newly buy maybe a shoe, a bag, if you look into it, you see some small patches that are dropped into that shoe, into that bag. You see some crystals inside it. It could be a white patch, a white small pouch or small bag. All right, in it you have some white powder or white substances, crystals. That's silica gel, and it's meant to keep the bag dry. It's meant to keep the shoes dry. So those substances are used. They are hygroscopic substance. They tend to absorb water from the surrounding, but they do not dissolve in it. So they are the best form of drying agent. Now when we talk about efflorescence is the ability, efflorescence is the ability of a substance when it is exposed to the atmosphere, it loses water of crystallization to the environment. So these are substances that they will just lose water to the environment and they become crystals. So another name for a fluorescent substance are crystals. Are we together now? So for example, if you have a salt like your sodium sulfate, Na2SO4.10H2O, that's decahydrate. That's sodium sulfate, sodium tetrasulfate 6 decahydrate. That it's going, when you expose it to the atmosphere, it loses the 10 molecules of water. That decahydrate, it becomes dehydrated, loses the water to the atmosphere, and you have the salt crystal left. So that ability of a substance to lose water of crystallization to the atmosphere when it is exposed to the atmosphere is called efflorescence. Okay, so that is an efflorescent substance. I hope that is clear. So before I leave, hygroscopic substances are also called humectants. Okay, HUMECTANTS, humectants, while deliquescent substances are also called desiccants. All right, they are also called desiccants, while efflorescent substances, they are crystals. Now if you check the option in that question given, they can also ask you effervescence, or you can see effervescence in the option. What is effervescence? Effervescence is just like a movement, a shaking movement that occurs when a reaction is happening in a beaker and a gas is about to escape from the mixture. You see some vibration, okay, that is occurring in the beaker, and then when the vibration occurs, the gas begins to escape. That vibration is effervescence. Okay, so that has got nothing to do with the topic, but you will just see the effervescence in the option. It's just there to distract you. I hope you have been able to differentiate between deliquescent, hygroscopic, efflorescent, and effervescent. Thank you for being a part of this class. I wish you the best in your exams. Bye for now.